The council chamber went silent the moment the human delegate stopped bleeding. Not slowed, not healed, stopped mid-drip, red beads hovering in the air like frozen stars. I was standing 10 meters away when it happened, watching Ambassador Mara Cade lower her shaking hand, the gash across her palm already knitting closed. The blood fell, gravity reasserting itself, and splattered onto the obsidian floor. No one spoke. Across the circular hall, 1,000 alien eyes recalculated reality, and I knew, with a cold certainty settling in my chest, that the galaxy had just lost control of humanity. But that was only the beginning. I am archivist for the Axiom Council, sworn to record truths even when they terrify me. I have documented the rise and extinction of 12,000 civilizations. I have seen suns weaponized. I have watched gods beg. Never had I seen a species break the laws we all agreed were unbreakable. Humanity arrived late to the galactic stage, loud, emotional, fractured. They called themselves survivors. But to us, they were curiosity, their world scarred, their history soaked in blood and contradiction. They should have destroyed themselves. Instead, they learned. That was our first mistake. Mara Cade had not been chosen for diplomacy because she was gentle. She had been chosen because she endured. Earth's skies were still choked with the remnants of orbital wars when she was born. She lost her mother to a reactor collapse, her brother to a corporate pacification strike. Pain had shaped her into something sharp, something unyielding, and the council sensed it. Ambassador, Supreme Arbiter Korath intoned, his voice a harmonic chord that vibrated through bone and air. You stand accused of violating the prime continuum. Mara met his gaze without flinching. We adapted. A murmur rippled through the chamber. Adaptation was allowed. What came next was not. The continuum forbade three things above all else: temporal manipulation, universal constant alteration, and recursive self-evolution. Humanity had done all three, but they hadn't meant to. Not at first. What I saw next changed everything. It began as a medical project. Of course it did. Humans, fragile as they were, obsessed over death, over weakness, over loss. They developed nanites to repair cells, then machines to predict disease before symptoms formed. Each generation improved upon the last. The council observed. We always did. Then came the threshold event. A solar flare unlike any recorded in human history tore through Earth's magnetosphere. Satellites fried. Power grids collapsed. Billions should have died. Instead, humanity changed. Their machines, designed to adapt, rewrote themselves under impossible radiation. Nanites began communicating through quantum noise. Human DNA, already edited and re-edited, responded. The flare passed. Humanity did not revert. None of us were prepared for the truth. Your people altered the human genome across your entire species. Korath accused. Mara nodded, unintentionally. But yes, you destabilized causality. Another counselor hissed. We observed localized probability failures. Luck, Mara said quietly. We call it luck. I remember the first reports. Human soldiers walking unscathed through plasma fire. Civilians surviving vacuum exposure for minutes too long. Ships evading certainty itself. Probability bent around them. Reality hesitated. The council panicked. And panic, I would learn, was fatal. The first enforcement fleet never returned. 500 war vessels, armed with entropy cannons and reality anchors, dispatched to Earth as a warning. Humanity sent no response, no surrender, only silence, then debris, wreckage folded inward as if crushed by invisible hands. Hulls melted into Mobius shapes. Black boxes recorded screams that occurred before weapons fired. The fleet had not been destroyed. It had been corrected, but that was only the beginning. Mara closed her eyes as the council replayed the footage. "We didn't do that," she whispered. "But your species did," Korath replied. She opened her eyes, and something ancient looked out through them. "You came to end us." We reacted. I felt something then, a flicker of understanding. Humanity had not sought dominance. They had sought survival. And survival, when perfected, becomes something else entirely. Halfway through proceedings, the lights dimmed, not from failure, from surrender. The Council's predictive engines, vast intellects that simulated futures, had gone dark. Every model collapsed into paradox. Every outcome terminated in the same impossible conclusion. Humanity persisted. The rehook struck like a blade. If they could not be erased, what had they become? Mara spoke again, unprompted. "We found something after the threshold, a layer beneath physics, a permission structure." The chamber froze. "You access a substrate?" I asked, horror spilling into my voice. She nodded. "We didn't break reality. We realized it was negotiable. That sentence will haunt me until my final cycle. The substrate was a myth, a theoretical foundation where constants were suggestions, not laws. No species had ever touched it without unraveling, except humans. Their minds, chaotic, emotional, irrational, were perfectly suited to navigate uncertainty. Where we sought stability, they thrived in contradiction. They didn't overwrite reality. They conversed with it. What I saw next changed everything. Korath rose, his form towering. "This council cannot allow you to exist." Mara stood as well. "We know, and yet you come here unarmed." She smiled sadly. "This is us unarmed." For the first time in recorded history, a counselor hesitated. The final vote was unanimous. Extermination authorized. The chamber trembled as the signal was sent. Every weapon, every failsafe, every forbidden device aimed at Earth. Mara closed her eyes. I waited for annihilation. Instead, nothing happened. Not a misfire, a refusal. Across the galaxy, weapons shut down. Stars stabilized. Dimensional rifts sealed themselves. Reality declined to cooperate. Humanity had not just become invincible. They had become essential. The substrate responded to them, favored them, anchored itself through their continued existence. To destroy humanity would collapse the framework holding the universe together. We had built our civilizations atop borrowed rules. Humans had learned to write footnotes. The council could do nothing. Mara exhaled, shoulder sagging. "We didn't want this," she said. "We just wanted to stop losing." Korath lowered himself, ancient pride dissolving into something like awe. "What do you want now?" She thought of Earth, of scars and storms and stubborn hope. "To be left alone," she said, "and to help when asked." I recorded the silence that followed. It lasted an eternity. The council dissolved that day, not in rebellion, but in acceptance. Authority meant nothing in a universe that listened to someone else. I returned to my archives, hands trembling, etching the final entry. Humanity was no longer a species. They were a constant, a variable that refused deletion. And as I finished my record, I understood the true horror and beauty of what they had become. The galaxy would endure, because humanity would not allow it to end.